Welcome to CouncilCast, a new podcast series from the Council of Insurance Agents and Brokers. I am Scott Sinder, the Council's Chief Legal Officer and a partner at the law firm Steptoe & Johnson in Washington, D.C. Our CouncilCast guest today is Philippe de Dreuzy. He is CEO and President of MSH International in Calgary. Formed in 1974, MSH International initially set out to provide support to the globally mobile employees of large French businesses through the delivery of dedicated group insurance solutions. MSH has grown several times over since then and today is simply one of the largest and most comprehensive suppliers of expatriate insurance services in the world, with more than 330,000 insured participants covered worldwide from 4 regional head offices in Calgary, Paris, Dubai, and Shanghai. Philippe currently is leading MSH's regional headquarters for the Americas. He has worked on 3 continents, and his stops have included many years in Spain, France, and Brazil, and he is a specialist in crafting expat health insurance programs. Welcome to the podcast, Philippe.
Thank you, Scott.
So why don't we start? Can you tell me what MSH is up to these days and what initiatives you are specifically focused on this year?
Well, I would start mentioning the good news. We just actually closed a nice business with one of the largest banks around the world and with some 5,000 expatriates. And this is a great example of what we can do around the world and managing healthcare plan for banks, for any industries in the market. First, I'd like to explain a little bit where we fit in the healthcare industry because we're sort of a different species in the sector. We are a TPA, third-party administrator, and we're also considered as an MGU. We are able to provide solutions from different insurance carriers around the world. We actually represent some 50 insurance carriers, and we are able to create customers' international employee benefit solutions, either on a fully insured or the self-insured plan with stop loss. And that's one of the things that helped me to make a transition about what's going on this year. We have a number of initiatives we're launching, and we're going to really push on the technology and transparency side. We're, of course, developing new applications on the mobile app for mobile employees traveling and working around the world. But we're also developing a new software called Aviator, which is an analytical tool providing a lot of information on claims and premium that we administer around the world. So clients and brokers are able now to see really through what are the claims that manage the premium side and how many claims are paid around the world through a very intuitive system, cloud-based, open architecture. At a click of a mouse, we're able to provide a lot of information on net loss ratio, IBNR included with the claims that we can develop in many countries around the world. We actually provide healthcare insurance in about, I would say, 150 countries. We manage 150 currencies through our claim system, and everything is centralized in Paris. I manage the Canadian office through North America, but we have also, as you mentioned, an office in Dubai and Shanghai. So everything is centralized, and we redeploy the information through the different offices, and we can provide customer service 24/7.
What percentage of your work touches the United States, either expats coming here or expats going from the U.S. abroad?
Well, it's a great question. We actually have a lot of expatriates, European expatriates, not only French, but going to North America, either in Canada or also in the U.S. So we have a fairly large population of expats. They are mobile employees. They are not staying in the U.S. for a long time. Of course, we had to go through this ASEA reform, which created a little bit of a headache for us because, and we worked together on that subject. For a while, we couldn't really figure out where we were on the regulation standpoint of view. But I think now things are getting a little bit simpler to understand, although the U.S. market is a fairly complex one.
I think the biggest challenge is that to satisfy those U.S. rules, the plans really have to be expat almost exclusively, so they can't be intermingled with other employees. Has that been a problem for some of your clients?
No, because we were able, actually, with HR manager like for example, one big one that I am thinking of in New York City, to carve out the mobile employees from the local population in the U.S. So the two different regimes, those folks are traveling and working overseas, so they sometimes want also to be treated elsewhere than the United States, although U.S. market is a great place to have excellent care. But they want sometimes to go back to Europe to be close to their family. So it was an education process through the HR managers to explain what we could do and could not do. I think one of the great opportunities we have now in this market is to go through the self-insured plan with stop loss. We are very good at that. We manage those plans that have thousands of expatriates around the world, but we can go down to all the way down to 50 employees, where we provide a plan that covered medical, life, disability, and so all the benefits that you would like to offer to expats working around the world.
And when you do that, and you have sort of several buckets of coverage, or sometimes you intermingling self-insured and fully insured, or are those completely self-insured platforms?
Well, usually the self-insured is always with a stop-loss level. So it could be at an aggregate level, or it could be at a certificate level. So you could provide a $50,000 stop-loss for each primary insured, or you can provide $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, whatever dollars on the stop-loss level.
But when you combine, say, group health coverage and disability, are both of those on a self-insured basis, or sometimes the disability on an insured basis? Usually
it's more on the insured basis, on disability and life. I think one of the major problem, or I would say challenges that we have to go through is of course compliance, especially on life insurance. We want to make sure that we will be able to pay claims, and we would prefer to work with a fully insured plan on life and disability. It's easier. But we can process claims. That's the biggest challenge on the U.S. side, is that in Europe, large insurance carriers are actually outsourcing delegating the administration of claims. In the U.S., it's a little bit different. They are pretty much closed by, although we have some large insurance carrier we actually work with in Europe or in Shanghai or in Dubai. We administer their claims, but they don't advertise this much. So it's something that I'm still dealing with. We're trying to find, and we hope during the EBLF this year to be able to find the right insurance carrier in the U.S. market that will help us to develop this self-insured plus stop-loss package.
So you're still working on that as a platform for the U.S. market?
We have a few solutions, but not at a complete I would say, spectrum. So we're still looking. I think the biggest challenge we have is the U.S. market is fairly complex. So you have so much legislation at the state level, the government level. Not always we can find the right regulation in the specific state. So we're still working on it, and it's just work in progress.
So the beauty of the self-insured platform is you're generally exempt from the state level requirements.
Right.
And so that should ease your entry into that space.
Yeah.
So what other problems are you having in terms of pushing forward on your overall business plan?
I think it's more as a CEO of a company that is fairly small compared to the large competitors. There are 4 main competitors, and I won't give the names, but I'm sure the audience know them pretty well. I think it's a question of developing our image of someone actually quite independent in the way we can provide solutions. So we are getting there. We're actually selecting a number of international brokers in the U.S. that are very specialized, focused on international risk, and it's slowly getting into a very good position. But that's a challenge that I have. I took over the office about 2 years ago, and we're a little bit of too much on the Canadian side. You made a nice introduction about my experience, but I've been working for about 20 years in the U.S. My last employer was Marsh McLennan, so I'm very familiar with the U.S. market, and I really would like to penetrate this much further. Canada is about 32 million inhabitants, and I think, don't quote me on the exact number, but it's about 10 times or even further than that in the U.S. market, so still a lot to do.
So what's next?
So I think what's next is really to push the Aviator product, this analytical tool, because I have actually traveled quite a lot in Europe and also in the U.S. market, and I believe we're the first one, sort of pioneers, proposing a solution online that could give a lot of flexibility for HR manager, risk manager, but also for broker to develop a reporting online on a monthly or quarterly basis, so that we will finally get into this where we understand what the premium is made of. We could also develop with that tool a solution where we can look at the network utilization. Let's say, for example, with this reporting, you can see right away an outlier in Brazil, for example, with 50 expats working there, and you realize that they're only accessing the network, let's say 10% of the population. You make a communication, it looks good for the employee because it thinks they can, taken care of, and they can access the right providers, the good quality care, and you can also do the cost containment that you're responsible of. So you mitigate the large claims that you could get if people can go anywhere they want. So this is a great tool. I would say if you look at the amount of claims that we process around the year, I think last year we processed about 480,000 claims. So it's a fairly large volume of claims, and with $250 million of amount of volumes of claims that we process around the world. In the U.S., we have a great partnership with United Healthcare. We process through their network about $60 million. So with the tool and the network, we're able to provide a lot of insights, key process indicators that will help HR manager, multinational HR manager to manage their plan properly with the brokerage community.
It feels like we're at a very exciting moment in the development of the new markets, and it feels like MSH is right there in the middle of all the changes. So it's going to be terrific to sort of watch and talk with you over the next few years.
I would love to do this. This is indeed, and it's interesting because during the EBLF we have been able to, with my partner at MSH, we've been able to see that even on the domestic side, there's a trend where people want to get more information on data and the manipulation of claims through the network in the U.S. So, great trend.
Well, Philippe, merci beaucoup for joining us on the Council Podcast. Sound insights and new perspectives. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Scott.
And I just want to close by saying that Ken Carrar is the most fabulous leader that we've ever had.
All right. Well, that's great. Thank you.